Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Colton011000 and says, am I the arsehole for ditching the rest of the backpacking group when I was their only ride? So, hear me out. I, 22 male, and my friend from college, 27 male, were invited on a backpacking trip that was being organized by a friend of his, who he had met while backpacking in Colorado the year before. Kaylee, 25 female, who organized the trip, had booked an Airbnb for us to all stay the night after we got off the trail from a 3-day trek. There was room enough for 2 people each to the 2 beds, and then room enough for 2 on the pull-out couch. We all paid evenly for the Airbnb. Of course, we thought Kaylee should have priority to her bed since she had done all the planning. And there was a boyfriend and girlfriend couple as part of the 6 of us planning to stay in the Airbnb. So, naturally, my friend and I felt we should take the pull-out couch. And this is how it was settled before ever commencing the trip. However, midway through the trek, the couple had to turn around and head home. So now there would only be 4 people to the Airbnb. And naturally, so we thought, my friend and I assumed we would now sleep on the real bed. Along with the couple backing out, my friend and I became the only ride for Kaylee and the other guy, Tyler, to get back to the airport in Denver. And my friend and I would have a 14-hour drive back after dropping them off. Tyler is a relatively passive character in this saga, as he didn't speak up much for either side, and was designated to be sharing the bed, platonically with Kaylee anyway. So you won't hear much mention of him. So such was the case when we landed at the Airbnb, that my friend and I set our things next to the real bed that Kaylee hadn't taken, and took a catnap on the bed. Enter Chris Fisher. Kaylee had invited her friend Chris Fisher to come hang out for the night. Chris lived in Colorado, only a couple of hours away from where we were, and apparently was a celebrity of sorts in her circle. So Chris had come in and said hi to Kaylee and Tyler and was briefly introduced to me and my friend, saying a simple "what's up" in response to the introduction. Chris then was shooting the breeze with K and T, and my friend and I went into the room to organize our luggage. Then we hear Chris say, "I need a shower," and comes into the room without a word to us and plops his stuff onto the foot of our bed and rummages for his toiletries and hops in the shower. After Chris is out of the shower, the group is talking like they're going to go out for the evening for beers, but I know that we have a 14-hour drive ahead of us the next day after dropping K and T off at the airport. So I tell them all I'm going to hang back and go to sleep for the night. Chris left his bag on the bed, so I moved it to the counter in the living room so he wouldn't forget it. From here, according to my friend, he spent an entire evening out in Grand Lake with the hugest douche he had ever encountered in his life. Fisher could not stop talking about these obscure world records he had broken or set in the world-renowned sport of ridge running, and his records for most elevation gain in a day by repeatedly going up and down some particular mountain. Kaylee was apparently eating it up as if she was utterly starstruck. If you've seen the movie The Other Guys and recall the attitude that everyone had when encountering The Rock and Sam Jackson's characters, this was, according to my friend, exactly Kaylee's demeanor. After returning from a soul-sucking outing, my friend was more than ready to bid Mr. Fisher adieu and proceed to never see his face again. That, unfortunately, was not what happened. Kaylee was beyond upset that I was still in the bed. She wanted Chris to have the bed. She invoked the fact that my friend and I were designated for the pull-out couch from the jump. My friend was sticking up for us though, saying that not only did it only make sense that we take the real bed after it opened up, but that Fisher had pitched in nothing for this trip, that we weren't even made aware until the last minute that he was coming by, and most importantly, that I was already asleep in the bed. Kaylee apparently was absolutely refusing to have it any other way and would not stop hammering the issue. Finally, Tyler came and woke me up for me to come sleep on the pullout. It was around midnight now, and we needed to be out by 6 a.m. I came in the kitchenette in a sleepy stupor. Here is where I got the real estate of the douche that is Chris Fisher. For 2 hours in the kitchenette, 8 feet away from the couch Kaylee had insisted we sleep on, My friend and I sat there and listened to Kaylee and Fisher drag on and on about all their outdoor adventure prowess, talking about how great they were at skiing, at snowboarding, at setting FKTs on trails. I did not know until this point that vacation activities could be such a flex, but here they are prove to me that one can make them one's entire personality and the culmination of an entire life accomplishment. Looking back now, I should have piped up about how I went to Europe and hiked on the Matterhorn, but they surely would have retorted with how they'd gone to Europe too, but even harder. Here is where my friend and I may be the arseholes. My friend was staring at me and seething. He hated the fact that they had woken me up, hated the fact that they kicked us out of our bed, and hated the insult to injury of having the audacity to shoot the shit for another 2 hours right by where my friend and I needed to be sleeping. About 1.5 hours in, as he seethes, he subtly gestures at me to look at my phone. I open my phone and read, "Let's ditch these arseholes." And as soon as they finally head to bed, we promptly agree that Chris Fisher is taking our place in our bed, unwittingly took his place as their ride to Denver, grab our packs by the door, and set out back to Oklahoma at 3 a.m. on the dot. And OP gives their first little update briefly in the first post and says, "I honestly had never heard of these people, besides of course my friend, until a week before that trip, and I've never heard of or from them since we rode off into the proverbial sunset. So really, my update is that this is a chapter closed for good." On the back of this as well, OP also shared a video that, because some people were saying that OP might be exaggerating his ego, so she shared a video of this guy about his records and his accomplishments and stuff like that. And apparently Chris turned up in the comments and says, "This is pretty funny, especially for the part where you actually still drove them to the airport. You did an excellent job manipulating this story, Tanner." Chris. Cotton Bean replied to Chris saying, "Bro, with how much you love yourself, why haven't you put a ring on it? You seem like you could be pretty chill, but damn, you seem to let your personal achievements rule your personality. Do you have any other hobbies like fishing or kayaking? Are you a snowmobiler or volunteer for anything? Does hiking just envelop your life? I have a close friend who sounds a lot like you, where literally every day I talk to him, he has to update me on his personal best cycling time and distance. It's cool you love what you do, but why do you have a personal website listing off all these weird achievements? Are you going to do something in the Olympics someday? Sorry for the verbal diarrhea, I'm genuinely curious." Chris replied saying, "Since you're curious, I do love myself like you should yourself. But I'm a paid professional mountain athlete, so it's literally my job to post the things that I do in the mountains. Personally, I hate social media and wish I wasn't on it, but again, it's literally my job and I love climbing, skiing, and running around the mountains, so I'll continue to do my thing. People that actually know me would speak much differently than this OP. It's honestly pretty hilarious that he came up with this whole story. Anyways, hope I have answered your question. Have a great evening." Mosgarbo says, "Did you ever pay anything for the room or did you just mooch like an arsehole?" Chris replied saying, "Being invited to stay the night by the person who paid for the Airbnb isn't mooching. But I offered to sleep in my truck many of the times as I had a sleeping setup in the truck." The original OP then comes in with an update. They started with an edit and saying, so there was indeed some embellishment. They said, "Chris asked for this, so no one try and blame me for making him and Kay look even worse. Everything in this story is true except the part about us actually leaving. My friend tried to talk me into it, but I said it was too mean to do even in response to what they had done to us. I couldn't bear leaving someone hours away from where they needed to be. Though my friend did insist Fisher would surely be a reliable ride to the airport. In reality, we had told them, upon agreeing to be their ride to the airport, that this would necessitate us leaving very early that morning, because my friend and I were going to be cutting it close and try to make it back to Oklahoma all in one stretch, so he could make it to his 6 p.m. Central Time class that evening. So even after being treated like dirt, even after them sleeping in and lollygagging all morning and causing us not to hit the road until about 2 hours after we needed to be on the road, we still drove an hour out of our way that morning to take K and T to the airport, which overall ended up making us too late for his class. We called friends and fam all day to pick their brains about if we would have been, as I maintained, wrong to leave them or if we should have. as my friend insisted, left them, K and T, high and dry. We got mixed reviews from that. We'd completely forgotten about the scenario until today, when we were driving on our way to another new adventure and reading Am I the Arsehole posts, as we love to do on our car rides, and realised that this story would be perfect for this forum. Of course, we were not posting into a forum called Would I Hypothetically Have Been an Arsehole If I Had Done the Thing I Thought to Do But Was Too Nice to Have Done. So we had to add to the story the alternate ending that we've always wondered about. So sorry for embellishing, Chris, but I'm not sure how the reality here paints you in any better of a light. The truth sets us free, I suppose. Fractal Maze said to that one, still not the arsehole, and you were still kind enough to take them to the airport, and they delayed your trip by 2 hours. You're better than me. I would have left them after 30 minutes. What Say says, so after all that and them oversleeping, Chris didn't even offer to take them to the airport. He should have kept his mouth shut. Not the arsehole. Chris replies saying, mouth shut about what? I didn't say a word to anybody. I didn't kick anybody out, and I didn't stay up until 3 AM talking. Nobody overslept, nobody was late for anything, and we all had a wonderful breakfast the next morning. Plenty Anywhere says, I think Chris may have gained some respect here by piping up like a gentleman, or just a decent human being actually. It seems like he stood idly by like a snake, watching Kaylee be the one to make the fuss, when all he had to do was say he'd take the pullout. This whole "I'll sleep in my truck" BS was just false piety intended to make Kaylee feel bad for him. The whole situation's just a bit weird for me that if I was like in that Chris's position, I would have insisted on not taking that bed in the slightest, or make anyone take a pull-out bed when, I was just invited randomly and they've all paid for it. And obviously, this post is over the best of Reddit updates, Boru, all kinds of places now, but if you ever do come across the video or you go looking for it, don't brigade, please. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story, which comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, Am I the arsehole for not allowing my fiance's best friend to come to our wedding? My fiance and I have been together just under 6 years. Dated 3, engaged 2.5. Great relationship relatively. Our friends and family all get along well with the other person. No issues at all, except for one of my partner's best friends. Said best friend has never liked me and seemingly had it out for me the entire time. She basically ignores my existence, refuses to speak to me or be cordial to me. But as soon as she sees my partner, she's yelling and hugging him, talking about, hey best friend, while ignoring me, even though I'm right next to him. I told him about it and how it made me feel. And at first it went unaddressed 2 to 3 more times because he needed proof to make sure there wasn't an issue. After said proof was present, he spoke to her about it, and she got a little better, but only around groups of people and like twice. She indicated she doesn't have a problem with me. So he felt I'm the only one having an issue, and I just need to approach her and talk it out. I told him I'm not doing that because she isn't my friend, and he needs to do so. A couple of weeks ago, we attended a mutual friend's party. I attempted to make eye contact and say hello 2 to 3 times, but she avoided me and refused to look at me the whole time. My fiance noticed because it was so blatant. I don't want her respect, don't need her to like me, don't honestly want her around at all. I just want her to have basic human decency. This situation has caused me to rethink my relationship and ending it because I feel like my fiance is in the wrong for engaging with her after seeing how she completely disregards me. I think now, but mostly after marriage, we're supposed to be a unit, and I wouldn't allow this behavior from a friend. I've been feeling like an arsehole because we spent the better half of a nice drunken evening arguing about this, and I told him she can't come to our wedding, as I won't have someone who can't seem to stand me near there. Am I the arsehole for telling my fiance she can't come to our wedding? For the question itself, absolutely not the arsehole, of course. Why would you want someone doesn't like you in any way? I'm not sure what the background is. Automatically my head goes to that, the jealous best friend. She wants him kind of thing. Why would you want anyone that dislikes you at your wedding? You just simply wouldn't. And the fact that he's not backing you up in this, it's red flags for me at the moment. But First commenter says, not the arsehole, but I'm surprised that you decided to marry someone who allows such behavior towards you. Opie responded saying, I don't want to ruin what has otherwise been the healthiest and best relationship in my life, but I've been thinking on it hard. Because where are the boundaries? Choice Pool says, lady, if this was the healthiest relationship in your life, I feel you might want to take a break from dating and focus on therapy because you are certainly going for the very low end of the dating pool. But if you really want to salvage this relationship and proceed with marriage, you need to put your foot down and establish that you will not allow yourself to be trampled on. Forget about not inviting her to your wedding. If your fiance wants to have a wedding to begin with, this friend needs to be cut off from his life permanently, and without buts or compromises. Opie says, lol, aside from this issue and minor spats, yes, I understand what you are saying, and I'm not endorsing his behavior, but there are far worse fates in relationships. Through experience and not. He definitely isn't the low end of the dating pool. He's the upper end, which is part of the problem. You brought up valid points, which I appreciated. There can't be a compromise with this at all. Unintelligent Lemon says, girl, a man who doesn't put you first is the low end of the dating pool. So OP comes in a month later with an update and says, original bluff, I told my fiance and his best friend can't come to our wedding. She pretends I don't exist and he does nothing to address it. The comments on my original post opened my eyes and made me realize that despite this being the healthiest relationship I've been in, it doesn't mean it's actually healthy. We've had a couple of conversations surrounding the issue, which mostly consisted of me saying it bothered me and him saying I was the only one who cared. A couple of things helped me realize my breaking point. 1. I asked him if he'd be okay with our daughter's future partner treating them like this, to which he got flustered, shut down and said he didn't want to talk about it. I left it alone. 2. He said he didn't want to end his friendship or do anything to jeopardize it because what if we break up? This made me realize he would not protect me as his wife, since he didn't as his girlfriend. The final straw was when I expressed how much it bothered me that he wanted me to blow this off since we, as in me and the best friend, only see each other 4 to 6 times a year. And he said, directly quoted because this is burned into my brain, I know the way she treats you is garbage, but you're allowing one person to dictate our relationship. It could be worse. She could be more active. There are worse ways to meddle, people text and lie, and all that to break relationships up. The first line broke my heart and told me all I needed to know. I have to truck through a couple more months of pre-planned and paid for social engagements, but I closed the curtain on any chance of healing this relationship the moment those words left his mouth. Thank you for everyone for the advice, common sense, knocking me upside the head, and similar related experiences and outcomes. I'm going to go to therapy and redefine what a healthy, balanced, and a communicative relationship. Edit, the pre-planned events aren't the wedding and engagement related. We share a home, need to divide assets, pets, a custody schedule. Additionally, we have vacations, planned with a mutually shared friend group. Boyfriend not a part of that group. I appreciate the concerns, but I need to plan things out a little more. There will be no second chance. To those who keep saying they're fucking, probably. When I first brought this up, he became stressed and kept emphasizing how I thought he was fucking his best friend, and he didn't address the issue that was brought up. I don't care to know or confirm. Edit 2, we are not getting married, continuing our relationship. For those thinking I'm using the pre-planned events to justify holding out good, absolutely fucking not. Our relationship was dead the moment he admitted she treated me like garbage and basically shrugged it off. As a note, I never asked him to cut anyone off out of his life. I simply asked for basic greetings and acknowledgement during the rare encounters with his BFF. This hasn't happened, aside from a couple of begrudging times. So Opie came in with another update 3 months later and said, my ex-fiance did begin to make an effort to include me and make sure I was addressed during group events, even though we'd already separated. Throughout the summer we had many conversations, not in hopes of reconciling, but mostly to make sure he truly understood the cause of our breakup. While drunk, he apologized for his messy and toxic friends, said he needed to reevaluate his friendships and apologized for bringing them into my life. He changed his tune in later sober convos. I was met with continued excuses and my point of view feelings being brushed off. This isn't that big of a deal. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I have friends that have done worse. The explanation and insight I received is that the best friend was a side piece, knowingly, for like 7 to 10 years. Guy had a baby and brought his baby mother a house, car, and basically got married, all while stringing the friend along. And as a result, the BFF has always asserted herself as being the most important woman in her male friends' lives. All in all, just going to go to therapy, heal some shit, move on. I'm starting piano lessons soon and taking a language class to pass my free time. Also focusing on cooking again and moving my body. I'm going to lose about 40 to 50 pounds. Thanks everyone for commenting, offering solutions and an alternative point of view, including those who felt I was making a big deal out of nothing and that I was trying to make her be friends with me. Never wanted that. I felt crazy for a while, but I'm thankful for random strangers on Reddit confirming I'm not. And just a comment from the top on that one who said, I kept up with your post and that man's an idiot. Threw everything away for a friend like that. To me, there's more than what he's saying, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up together. But it's done now. He's not your problem. He's hers. Onward and upward. That comment where he said to her, I know she treats you like garbage, but you're allowing one person to dictate our relationship. I thought, well, that's ironic because he's the one that's allowing this to happen. OP was just trying to stop her from doing it. Absolute madness. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.